Have you ever wondered if you could take a simple mundane daily task and turn it into a whole software project? Join me as I dive into how I'm taking a few Excel macros and turning them into a full-blown add-in using Notion to track every step of the way. Is my project tracker too complex or just complex enough? Let's find out together, and maybe you'll find out that you should always keep track of even the smallest ideas that ever cross your mind. In today's video, I'm going to talk about two things. On one side, how a simple set of tools built for myself is evolving into a full digital software product. And on the other hand, how tracking everything in Notion is helping me achieve my goal. I'll share a bit how the whole thing started and where it's heading, and I will focus more on how I'm tracking everything in Notion and what ideas you might take from that for your own project tracking. If you find my project tracker useful and think that you might benefit from it, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to share a link where you can clone it and use it for your own projects. So I started my first job in finance and financial audit back in 2011, and I quickly realized that there's this thing called VBA in Excel, Visual Basic for Applications, that you can use to automate different tasks. And I was so excited of being able to, instead of doing the same repetitive task, figure out how to write a few lines of code and have the computer do it for me. So I started building my own little tools. The first one was really simple, and it's something that's built in Excel right now. It's removing blank rows. But it wasn't part of Excel back then. And I was so excited to see it in action, the rows disappearing, that I shared it with all my colleagues and they all loved it. So I started stacking all those different little tools that I was building for myself on my Excel ribbon in a separate tab. And of course, I called it Dobry Tools. Over time, I added more features, and some of those features became more complex, like my table of contents generator. At some point, I even played around with designing my own icons, drawing them on my Remarkable, and overall experimenting with different features that might be useful for me and perhaps for somebody else. By that point, it was 2019, and I've changed a few jobs, and at every company I worked at, pretty much everyone that worked with Excel was using my list of macros. And this is when I thought that, okay, I'm building this for myself, but a lot of other people are benefiting from it and actually find it valuable. So maybe I should figure out a way to monetize that. Not that much for the money I potentially make, but just to be able to go through the whole experience of putting up an actual software product out there and taking care of everything that accompanies that. So I slapped the name Minty Tools for Excel, which is related to the Minty Analyst brand that I'm building with this channel and with my newsletter. And I started to research how does one go from an XLA file that you can load into your Excel all the way through to an installable add-in for Excel. Turned out I had to rebuild everything from the ground up in Visual Studio and package it as a COM add-in, and I'm not going to bore you with the technical details, but somewhere around this point, I think it was 2020, I had just learned about this new cool thing, Notion, and that people were using it to track their projects. And at the same time, I was at a point where everything that I was trying to figure out about how to publish this add-in was getting so much that I was struggling to organize everything that I have to do and find a way to track it just to make sure that I'm progressing towards the end goal. Because there's one thing to work on a project a few hours here and there in your free time, like a side project, and just sit in front of the computer and think, okay, what do I want to do next? And it's a completely different thing to spend the exact same little amount of time every week, but have a detailed plan of what you need to do, what comes next, when you want to do it, and so forth. That was the game changer for me. So I opened up Notion. I started making different categories, making different checklists. At some point, I learned about this thing called databases, which is pretty much what Notion is all about. So I started changing into that. And actually, over the past few years, I've iterated my tracker a lot. And this is the current version that I want to show you right now. This is what my tracker looks like now. I have some published steps, the add-in features documentation. This is where I have all the features. And let's say if we open a feature, you see in here, I have all the development steps, some room at the top to type in the tooltips and the tooltip description. I need to go through those and check everything as done. And also if, let's say I open one of those, I have all the different code snippets that I can use to implement this. And that works for all of those. For example, here I'm implementing the time save, which is pretty simple. Then, for example, for error handling, I have this error logger that writes to a text file and so on and so forth. And also for some features like this one, I have sub-features. And for all those sub-features, I have the same thing with all those here to be implemented and some tooltips at the top. If I go back to the main page, I also have this to-do items, and there are only a few here because I added this pretty recently. And this is a way to track what I'm currently working on before updating the statuses in the add-in features. So for example, for the AI analysis feature that I'm working on, this is everything that I have to do, and I still haven't started working on that. So those are the tasks that I need to make sure I take care of. Then if I come to my add-in features and I open this feature, Analyze with AI, I have to type in the screen tip and the super tip here. And I also have to go through all of those and make sure that I implement them with the various code snippets. So essentially this to-do items here is this first thing, the develop feature part of the whole thing. Honestly, that's not the way to build a product or to do business, because at the end of the day, even if it's a side project that I'm doing for fun, I'm investing a lot of time in it. It's on weekends and on nights, but still a lot of time goes into this. And what you normally do is do some research, do some validation before you start putting so much time and effort into building a software. But in my particular case, by the time I decided that I want to turn this into a product, I already had like 75% of it developed. So I'm looking at it more of like an experiment. Can I take this thing that I built for myself and actually package it as a real product, as opposed to, okay, I'm developing this product to become rich and make a lot of money and turn it into a full-time business. So my whole business approach for this project is really flawed, but my focus here is on building out the process and being able to at the end sit down and say, okay, I can now take something from an idea and prepare a structured map of how I'm going to take it from an idea to an actual product. Even though it might not succeed, it might flop, that's not the point here. The point is having this systemized approach from idea to end product and to actually launching the product. Because as you see here in my Notion tracker, there's a lot more that goes into releasing this to the public than just the development part. That's why I have these published steps here in this Kanban that I can go through and prioritize and work on and keep track of everything in this single database, so that it's my single source of truth. I actually already tried launching a version of the add-in. I was part of the founding team of a startup doing financial analytics. And at some point I thought, okay, maybe I can just rebrand that, pick certain features and release it under this brand, try to generate some cash and some more interest in the company. But the issue was that our core offering was the whole concept of leaving Excel behind when it comes to financial analytics and financial modeling and moving everything to a dedicated cloud platform. So at some point, trying to offer an Excel add-in didn't really sit well with our core company values and core mission. So it didn't really go that well. We launched it for a while and at some point decided that it's just muddying the water. So we canceled that. But I'm still determined to see it to the end, to actually have it published out there. And Notion is really what's helping me do that and helping me keep track of everything that I have to do, because this is a side project. And if you look at the timeline, I started working on it, like being more focused around 2019, and now it's 2024 and it's still not done. And the reason for that is that it's not something that I work on full time. For example, when I was working on a startup for more than a year, I didn't even open my project for this add-in because there was so much to do in the startup. And even now I'm trying to work on that, like a few hours here, a few hours there, but I probably average like 4 or 5 hours a week maximum. And working on it in such a sporadic pace makes tracking everything so much more important, because if I didn't have this project tracker, I would be completely lost in what features developed, what feature has proper error handling, things like that. And keep in mind, I'm not a software developer. I was someone that knew how to write simple Excel macros with a lot of help from Google. And I graduated to someone who can write a bit more complex tools with like hopefully proper error handling and things like that in VB.net with a lot of help from Google, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. And I guess what I'm trying to say with this entire video is that it's possible to take a simple problem that you have and over time develop an initially simple solution into something much more complex. And even if that's not the path to like financial freedom and things like that, because that's all the hype right now, you can still have a 9-to-5 or be a freelancer or whatever. But this is just a way to go from an idea to an end product that, apart from having a potential to make you some money, it also teaches you about so much along the way. So you get to do social media marketing, you get to do sales, you get to do product development, copywriting, design. If it's a more lifestyle product, you might even have to do some like photography. You probably have to do video editing, things like that. And you can outsource a lot of those. But for me personally, I wanted to do every single step on my own, just because I want to have this experience for myself of taking something from a simple idea all the way through to a finished product. And once again, that's where Notion came into play for me and really changed the way I track everything. So right now I'm tracking everything in Notion. I'm tracking my New Year's resolutions in Notion. You probably see that I put on a lot of weight recently after the baby. It's been really hard to eat healthy. And that's something I'm trying to work on, and it's being tracked in Notion. I'm trying to publish a video a week consistently, and that's also being tracked in Notion. I have an entire YouTube video tracker in Notion where I do all my ideation, all my script writing, and I track the progress for every video that I make. Yes, initially it takes some time to set up a project tracker. I know there are a lot of templates that you can buy online, but for me, I've always found out that I needed to be really tailored to my specific use case, and it's much easier for me to start with something really simple and as time progresses add features to it. And that's how I've been approaching the tracker for Minty tools as well. And that's how I got from like a simple checklist, just checkboxes in Notion, all the way through to this arguably unnecessarily complex project tracker in Notion. If you're new to the world of no-code and automation, Notion is one of the best tools that you can start your journey with. A tool that has some AI in it, has some automations in it, but mostly it's just a way for you to keep track of what's important and just make it in a really tailored for your use case way. And I want to share 5 reasons why everyone must learn no-code this year with you, and I'm gonna do exactly that in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in this video.